So, welcome everybody to the Choice Change in Action podcast. So, you're with me, your host, Simone Milasas, and I am in my amazing, beautiful home in Peregian Beach, Australia. So, when you listen to this, I think I'll be in Tasmania with my friend Sarah Watt on her beautiful big property, which I haven't seen yet, but I'm very excited to meet all of her animals and be in that space. So, let's see where this goes today, because I have a topic that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and was a couple of topics within one. But main thing is, are you bored yet? Like, what comes up when I ask you that? Are you bored yet? Now, let's see if I can, play with the energy of this, because how this sort of, I guess, this awareness showed up. I was talking to two of my friends, Gary and Dane, who a lot of you who are regular listeners know who they are, and the founder of Access Consciousness and the co-creator. And I was talking to them, and I was talking about how I have this energy around money. Like even when I was in debt, I had this energy around money that I could still. I'm trying to fix my microphone. There we go. I could always just find money. Like, I could just have money show up, right? From the most random of places. And Gary said to me, so then he said, what do you call that? And I said, I don't know, like magicking money. And he said, so why wouldn't you just magic money in all these different areas? It's a question. Okay. It's not like he's not accusing, he's not anything like that. And guys, you've got to get that question is one of the most powerful, potent things that you can do and be, is ask yourself questions, ask other people questions, not going to that assumption of something. So when he asked me this question, I went, oh, because there'd be too much chaos. Now, we've been talking about this a little bit. I've been talking about it is, chaos is friggin' amazing. Chaos is being in question. Chaos is allowing all these different energies to show up. So then I come up with the second question he asked me, but it was something, and I went, oh, if all of that showed up and I was willing to be that much chaos and willing to receive that much chaos, I'd be bored. Now, this is weird. This is where it gets weird, because how many of you are creating a situation, a problem, a story, a judgment, a limitation, or something like that, so that you avoid boredom? Yet you're bored with what you're currently choosing. Okay. Don't worry. I'm going to break this down a little bit. If you're like, what? You're like, it makes sense, but how does this make sense? Let's look at money, for example. Money's always a good topic to play with. Okay, so if you had all the money in the world, or not if you had all the money in the world. Okay, let's do this. What if you had $100,000 every year that just came into your bank account? And some of you are already earning that. So let's go $1 million or 10 million, like something that's more than what you currently earn, and have that every single, beginning of the year, 1st of January, it pops into your account. What would you choose? What would you create? And it's a really interesting energy. And all of this is about energy, because I know when I created myself to be in debt, and every week was like hustling and struggling to get the rent, etc., or how am I going to pay for that, or I can't afford this, and blah blah blah, all the stories that I tell myself every day, it was entertaining in some way. No, I know that sounds insane, but that's the thing, guys. This is insane. So how many of you are entertaining yourself with poverty, with the struggle of money, with the hardship of money, with the stories that you tell yourself? What if you choose to change that and you had more money and it was never about the struggle? Like right now, I'm not worried about how I'm paying my mortgage. It's like I have money coming in. Money is not a quote unquote concern for me in that way. Would I like to have more money and create more with money? Absolutely. I would like to have lots of money and buy lots of land in a lot of places and do different things with that. So I'm asking for that. But am I okay? Can I afford to buy bananas even if they're really expensive? Yes. I can afford to go to any restaurant and order whatever I want, and I know I can pay for it. Okay. So I don't have quote unquote a money problem. But also, it's like, how much am I using, and are you using no money or not enough money as the source of creation? Whereas here's the thing, you are the source of creation. And so many times you use no money, like when I used to say, struggling for this, struggling for that, etc. And now it's like, there are bigger things that I desire. There are bigger requests in my world, and demands of myself and requests of the universe that I would like to, put into action. I'd love to finish building El Lugar, for example. Recently I just put a shout out, which was really cool. And if you did this, I just want to say thank you so much. For my birthday, I asked if anyone would like to donate or could donate anything. Some people donated €5. I think the most was like 1,500 euros towards the building of this bridge at El Lugar in Costa Rica, the property that we have there. And we're about 70% built. And by the way, just an update on the bridge. It's coming. We had so much rain, like huge amounts of rain, so they couldn't get the equipment across the other side. Blah blah blah. If you're like me, you don't want to know the story. You just want to know, when is it finished. So at the moment, it's been a little delayed, and it will be about February that it will be finished. But I want to say thank you, because it was about 20,000 US dollars that came in from everybody's donations, and I matched it. So I also gave $20,000 towards the building of the bridge. So there is more money required, but we'll create it. Okay. This is not what this podcast is about. I want you to have a look at, I'm still using not enough money as entertainment, so I won't get bored. But isn't this boring? Like, whatever your financial reality is right now. The weird ass thing is, if I had so much money that I could just go, let's build El Lugar. All right, let's, build, I don't know, let's create a chateau. There's a chateau in New Zealand we'd like to buy, and create the same sort of energy there. Let's buy the Amazon rainforest, and so we can maintain it instead of getting it chopped down. Let's buy land in Australia and just have the koalas and kangaroos live there. Let's like all these different things. Let's, buy the rights to the ocean if you can, because I know Trump and Australia just signed a treaty that they could mine in the Pacific Ocean. It's like, what money can create for you when you choose with it is a different future. Again, how many of you are using your current financial reality? I don't care if you're in debt, or you've got $10, or you've got $10 million, or you've got $1,000, whatever it is. How many of you are choosing your current financial reality so that you won't be bored, because you're using no money or not enough money as the source of creation? But are you bored yet? Like, I'm done. Come on, show me the money. Like that movie, Show Me the Money, with Tom Cruise. Show me the money. What if we changed the energy? What if we flipped it? What if you and I, whatever that amount is, were willing to have so much money that you could create and generate a really different possibility here on planet Earth? Because without that, significance and everything, and maybe it is time for us to sort of be like that, and hands on hips, and say, hey, enough. We've got to change some stuff here. We have to change some stuff here. Okay. So are you bored yet? And the other thing is too, the way this works is, if I ask you, what's your first language? Some of you say English, some of you say German, some of you say, Russian, some of you say energy. Well, you're correct. And how many of you are using the language of judgment in order to determine what you choose? Mamma mia, allora, va bene. Okay, so how many of you, let's look at financial again. How many of you are judging what you currently have and what you don't have? And that is your language. You speak judgment. Stop speaking judgment. Okay? Everywhere that you are choosing to speak the language of judgment continuously every single day, with every move and every choice you make in regards to every area of your life. Let's not talk about how much you judge your bodies, you judge your business, you judge your relationships. We destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 100, shorts, boys, probirds, creations, bases, and beyonds. Most people think profit is just the money left over after paying the bills. For me, profit is about you being the source of your life. That's why I created the Profit Club, a private membership where you get 2 calls with me every month, a private group chat, and lots of surprises along the way. The best part, it's only $28. So join the Profit Club. Go to SimoneMilasas.com/Profit Club. Okay, so let's flip. Let's go to relationships. Are you bored yet? Okay, so let's look at relationships. And I'm not just talking about your lover, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, etc., the person that you're, copulating with, or maybe you're not copulating with them, as the case may be. How many of you are bored with being in a sexless relationship? But you don't have the guts or the balls to actually say, hey, this isn't working for me. How many of you are bored in your relationship? You've been in that relationship for year after year after year. And is it exciting you? Is it enthusing you? Now, some people have some really epic relationships, okay? I am definitely not against relationships. But if you're going to choose one, choose a good one. Choose one that works for you, not one that works for others, one that works for you, okay? So look at your friendships. How many of you are bored with the friendships that you have? Yeah, there was this Seinfeld episode, years ago. Seinfeld's been on for a long time, and Jerry and his friends are at this party, and they're all standing around talking and having a drink, etc. And someone comes over and introduces himself, and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and they look at them and they're like, "What?" He goes, "I'm sorry, we're not interviewing." And the guy looks at them and he's like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "We're not interviewing for new friends. We've got enough friends," sort of thing. It's like, how many of you become so complacent with the friendships that you have that you will not open up a door to a different possibility, to a different energy, to receiving from a different being? What if you're willing to have chaos in your friendships? What would you choose? Who would you choose to be friends with? So the way you also create boredom is familiarity. How many of you just choose what's familiar? I know it, I know this sex partner. I know this best friend. I know this, my whatever, my colleague, my this, I know that, even though they don't work really well or they don't, do exactly what we're asking for in the job, but we know them, we know them. Are you bored yet? Now, I'm not saying that after you listen to this podcast, you're like, right, I'm done. I'm breaking up my relationship. I'm no longer going to have these friends. And as far as the people I work with, you're fired. I'm not saying that at all. Okay. What I'm asking for you to look at is what is working for you and what's not working for you, and what are you using to entertain your life today so that you won't be bored, and yet what you're choosing to entertain yourself is actually boring. Everything at that is Times of Godzilla, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right, wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 100 shorts, boys, proverbs, creations, bases, and beyonds. That's the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement, and you can hear more about it on theclearingstatement.com. So that's in the subscription notes. And please, you don't subscribe. I don't know, you tick the box. You say you like it. You do all of that. I think there's a little bell there. You ring it and blah, blah, blah. And then you get notifications of the podcast. Thank you for being here. That's on YouTube too. Thank you for listening. And please write a review. I would be so grateful. So let me give you an example of, one of the things that I, from being a teenager, wanted to be in business. I had no idea what the business was going to be, but I knew that I wanted to be in business. Why? For me personally, I saw business as something where you can change the world. I saw business as something that was incredibly joyful. Why was it joyful? Because you could change it at any moment. You could pivot. It was such a creative energy for me. That's how I've seen business. Hence, I wrote the book. First book I ever wrote, Joy of Business. It's in like 20 languages. Very, very known as that. Even I remember in Sydney, Australia, this is way before Access Consciousness, when I was doing markets on the weekend in Glebe and markets on Bondi Beach on a Sunday. And that was my business. I would do 2 days of that, of the markets. I'd go buy goods from Nepal and India and Thailand, and, work with the Tibetan refugee women. And that's a whole other story. But I would do this, right? And then I started a label, Good Vibes for You, and we had T-shirts, and we ended up getting merchandise and doing merchandise for bands and stickers and magnets and all this sort of thing. And I'm walking down the main street of Glebe in Sydney, and there's these two kids on a skateboard. And as they go past, they go, "There's the Good Vibes lady." And I went, I am known as the Good Vibes lady. Like, we did a lot of music festivals. A lot of people, knew who we were. A lot of musicians would come and buy our stock or hang out, etc. They knew who we were. And so I was the Good Vibes lady. Do you know how long it took me to give up Good Vibes? Because I didn't know who the fuck I was beyond the Good Vibes lady. What are you not willing to give up that's entertaining you so you, quote unquote, won't be bored, but yet you're not seeking what's beyond this? You think it's boredom. What if it's not? What if it's the greatest freaking thing that you could be choosing, but you're not giving yourself that space? There you go. How many of you have decided space is boring? What if space was not boring? And you know what? Practice. Give yourself 5 minutes, 10 minutes every day. Just go sit somewhere. Don't take your phone. Just if you have some plants or a backyard or a front yard, or, you can hear birds or nature, and that's Australia. But wherever you are, just be with you. Nothing else. No music. No listening to podcasts. Nothing. Just be with you and your body. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and see what shows up. And from that space, were you bored, or did you discover something different? How many of you are avoiding discovering and exploring something different from everything that you've been choosing to entertain yourself through the language of judgment and limitation? And everything at that is times a godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 100 shorts, stories, proverbs, creations, bases, and beyonds. So fast forward, I, met Gary Douglas from Access Consciousness at an expo that I was at with my business, Good Vibes for You. And very soon after, I was so intrigued. I was like, my God, this man is talking about everything that I would like to see and create in the world. So, within 6 months, I found myself in Houston, Texas, going to a facilitators training. And, keep fast forwarding, I'm choosing Access Consciousness, right? And so I work with the business. I run a lot of the business. When I first started, we were in 4 countries. Then, now we're in 187 countries or something like that. And it grew really, really quickly. Okay. And I had a lot to do with the business growth of it. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Love business, right? Remember when I was a young kid, all I wanted to do was own my own business, like work with business. Okay. So here I am. Now I start to write my book, Joy of Business. And then I write a second book, Getting Out of Debt Joyfully, which is brilliant. And it's very, very pragmatic. It talks about energy, like in changing your point of view, but it's got some really good pragmatic tools in it. Then I write a book called Relationship, Are You Sure You Want One? With my ex. As we launch it, we split up our relationship, which I thought was hilarious. But the whole idea of the book is relationship. Are you sure you want one? Like, you're in question. Okay. So then, lots of things are occurring, but a lot of people perceive me through Joy of Business. That's probably one of the main topics that, say, my PR agent would pitch me on, is to do with money or business, etc., and all of that. So then, many years later, and I'm telling you this because I want you to have a look at what you're choosing that's familiar. Don't give it up. I'm not saying give it up, but what else can you add, right? Like, stop just having familiar be your entertainment. It's like, turning on your TV and you're watching the same show all the time, okay? What if you could flip channels? What if there was something entirely different available for you? Are you bored yet? What's it going to take for you to choose something different? So if you're watching, I just lifted up these cards, the Intimate Play for Lovers cards. Now, I know some of you already know about these cards, but here's the story I want to tell you with it is I created these with my friend, a lover, and we created them so that you could have more intimacy with each other. Now, there's some soft play, there's some hard play. I actually talked to someone the other day, and all they ever do, they were in a relationship basically where they were having no sex. They didn't desire to have sex, their partner did. They tried playing with these cards, and she said, Simone, it's been amazing. She said, we only ever play the soft play, but we've actually started having sex, and it's been a lot of fun. And I was like, yes, that is exactly why I created these cards, you know. So there's got soft play, hard play in them, etc. And we created this whole thing, and it was so much fun creating it. You know, we started off with a Google Doc and, you know, writing numbers down and putting them in a big salad bowl and pulling them out and being like, okay, this, and just playing with it. And we asked a few good friends to contribute their awareness, their, what do you like? How do you like to play? You know, because everyone plays different. And we got the cards made up, got them printed, and we were about to launch them. And I was like, shit. I had this energy in my tummy that was just swirling. And I rang Gary Douglas because I work really closely with Access Consciousness. Like, I am a major part of Access. And I said, hey, are you okay if I launch these cards? And he went, of course I am. Like, he so is. Judgment is not Gary's language, okay? I was judging me. And he said, of course I am. He said, I think they're brilliant. And I was like, okay. And I went, so why do I feel so sick in my tummy? And he said, because you are about to open a door to a different future. Ever since that moment, I was like, damn, where am I playing it safe? Where am I only choosing familiar, which is creating the entertainment of my life? You know, are you bored yet? Rather than, you know, having these cards out here. I mean, by the time this podcast goes to play, we would have had this already. But next weekend, we've got Sexpo in Brisbane, which I'm pretty excited about. I'm looking for distribution and wholesalers, etc. But we have these cards out there. There are so many people who have pinged me and said, Simone, thank you. We've had these, you know, been in a relationship for 10 years, but we've never had these conversations. And now we're having these conversations about what we like and what we don't like. Okay. But this was opening a door to a different future for me and for others. What if there is something so much more available for all of us, and yet you keep choosing the same thing and choosing familiar to entertain yourself? I know I've said that a few times, but really, what are you currently choosing to entertain yourself? You know, is it fighting with your partner? Is it, you know, complaining about your kids? Is it complaining about your financial reality? Is it, do you wake up in the morning and just have this litany of judgment about your body, about you? Well, is that entertaining? What if you stopped entertaining yourself? Like, I have this, you may have noticed, I have this stuff on my skin. It's called granular annulomery. Annulomery. Granuloma annulomery. I mean, gosh. Anyway, GA for short. Now, I had biopsy a couple of times on it because it's on my arms and my legs, and the doctors know what it is, but they have no idea why you get it. And it's just very random. The medical industry doesn't do anything about it because it's not contagious, it's not itchy, etc. And so they don't really know why, you know. So there's a Facebook group which I joined, which a lot of people do a bit of trauma and drama, but it's really very interesting. I've learned some information from there. But here's the thing. I have asked myself a couple of times, do I like having this? Weirdly, I get yes. Why do I like having this? Is it entertaining me? Having a quote unquote, you know, skin condition on my body? It's like, what are you choosing with your body that's entertaining you? So I'm going to destroy and uncreate this. And everything that this is, and everything that I'm choosing with my body that is just about entertaining myself, destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 100 shorts, boys, perverts, creation, spaces, and beyonds. Do you see how this works? But you've got to be vulnerable, because I could say, no, of course I don't like this skin condition. But every time I ask, I'm like, what do I like about it? You know, same thing as when I was in debt. You know, I got out of debt, found myself back in debt. And so I was like, this is insane. So I started asking myself, well, what do you love about being in debt? Now, if you are creating something, there's something about it you love, and you could go, don't be stupid. Like, that would be insane to love being in debt. Yes, just as I'm talking about, kids, are you choosing this to entertain yourself so that you will not be bored, but you think space and freedom and ease and a sense of peace and joy is boring? Can we please find out what's beyond the crap, what's beyond the shit, what's beyond the language of judgment? Please, please, please. I am making a demand of myself and the request of the universe to show me something different. You can do the same thing. You do you. Okay. Please, anything I talk about ever, don't trust me, trust you. If there's something about this that is light in your world, then maybe start to look at this and going, like, throughout your day, the first thing that you like get agitated about or frustrated or have a point of view that is like stuck. What do you love about it? What are you choosing to use as entertainment that keeps you from being bored and yet creates the boredom? And what comes up for you? What are you currently bitching and complaining and moaning about? And you've decided that that is more real and true than a different possibility. What if you could be owned by possibilities? I mean, how many of you are looking for a disaster to show up? There's another conversation I had with someone the other day of, governments, blah, 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 blah. Every single country has their own story. And if we make that more real and true and really significant and act like they have control over us, guess what? They'll have control over us. If we choose something different and ask, okay, what can I be today? And what can I be today that would allow me to outcreate the insanity that is currently in the world? Destroy and uncreate it, right, wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 100, shorts, boys, proverbs, creation, spaces, and beyond. And what can I be that's bigger than this, that's greater than this? Okay. And if you start being in question, it's like then you become a source of infinite possibilities instead of how many of you are choosing to be the source of looking for the next disaster. I'm ready for the next disaster. Okay. Stop it. Every time you notice that, just instead put yourself in question and go, okay, if I wasn't looking or preparing for a disaster, that's probably more closer, preparing for it. What source of infinite possibilities could I be today? Notice the change in energy. Can we have more of that, please? Please, 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 please. Okay. Like if you, I played with this in Costa Rica when I was horse riding, and I was horsing, riding a different horse. And so, of course, I went to, oh no, I don't know this horse. What's going to happen? Da, da, da. And I went, holy shit, all I'm doing is looking for the disaster. Like I'd already prepared myself for, I might fall off. And I went, stop it. So I got on the horse. And from the moment I got on the horse, actually, here's the key rule. I always ask the horse, will you look after me? I did that, got on the horse, and I said, what source of infinite possibilities can I be today and can we be today? And as I rode, I just kept asking that question whenever it came into my mind. I had such a beautiful ride. It was incredible. Okay. So how many of you are looking for the disaster instead of be willing to be the source of infinite possibilities? So are you bored yet looking for the disaster? Preparing for a disaster? So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Please, if you did, share it. I've got lots of stuff coming up. I've got a business done different class starting in December. We'll put it in the notes below. It's going to be 2 classes. It's only online only. It's going to be 2 classes in December. And then we give a little bit of a break. But I sort of like that energy because you get this moment over Christmas and New Year to go, what is it I'd actually really like to create? And then the following 3 classes are in January. I also have Getting Out of Debt Joyfully in January, online only. That's towards the end. So I'm looking forward to that too, with this new conversation of are you bored yet, and looking at the language of judgment, because truly I always say no one needs to have a money problem, and I believe that. Do you? Anyway, there's lots happening. Go check out my website, go check out all the classes, and I'd love to see you somewhere in the world soon. I'll be at El Lugar in Costa Rica for Christmas. You can always come to El Lugar. It's open. There's still some spots available there. Not saying that I'm going to go hang out with everybody. I'm definitely going. If you can't find me, I'll be at the horses basically. But it's going to be fun. I'm very looking forward to that relaxation there that Elugar gives you. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening, watching, etc. Please share, write a review. Love you. Love your work. Thanks for being here. Mwah.